family property, alfalfa, 20 kilometres from the town of Canowindra in central west New South Wales. And our family have been here since 1906, so long time. I'm kind of fourth generation, I guess, on the place. So yeah, long tenure. Well, Agtech is something that, yeah, despite our Helen and I, our age, we've kind of got into in a fairly big way. So we've got ourselves now within the Farms of the Future program onto Agwebb. We've been on Agworld for a while, both programs which I find fantastic. We've now got into a whole lot of monitoring stuff, so that's been good on so many levels because I've got the men accessing the program as well, particularly the tank monitors and the soil monitors. So now instead of me saying to them, could someone check that tank? They're like, hey Michael, that tank's at 40%. I'm like, oh really? Okay, I'll have a look. So everyone's on their phone saying, hey Michael, the fuel's down to 30%, you've got to ring the fuel guy. I'm like, thanks mate, I'll do that. So it's led to some shared responsibilities, and it's also led to a whole lot less kilometres up and down tracks, looking at kind of floats on tanks to see how much water's in every tank. Well, certainly Agworld and Agriwebb have been great changes for me because it's meant the record keeping is so instantaneous. So now when we're in the sheep yards, we finish drenching a mob, we record on our phones the dose. We've got an inventory of drenches, which you've got to put in when they arrive, of course, but we've got an inventory of drenches that automatically deducts from your inventory of drenches. So when anyone comes knocking with an audit, that used to be like a week of scrambling to find all the paperwork. Now it's all there. You literally just show them on the iPad and say, here we are, these are the sheep, this is what they've had, this is when they had it. And the same with chemicals with Agworld, which we're on. It's fantastic because you've got this record going back years of every. And I know we have done that on paper, but it's always trickier. But now I can just click on a paddock, I can go back and say, okay, it's had a Group A chemical that year. A Group B 2 years later, where are we up to with this paddock? We're starting to get a bit of resistance. We can just realise straight away what we've used and use another chemical group. So yeah, there's so many advantages in having those really good records, which technology now allows or facilitates. We've also put in a spray advisory tower, and we haven't gone through a spray season with it yet, but that picks up on temperature, humidity, wind speed, delta T. A couple of things, combines all that and tells you basically whether it's a good day to spray or not, and also about the efficacy of that spray. Because sometimes you might think, I just want to get this stuff on, but if you've got too many factors against you, you're better to save your money. And also, chemicals, I guess, where you've got to be conscious about not losing our kind of social license to put chemicals out as we like. So you've got to be careful of inversion layers, and you've got to be careful that the chemical that is supposed to go on your place doesn't move off your place. So all those things are really important. And if you've got some objective data there to tell you that it's an ideal day for spraying, well, you go for it, and then you'll have that in your records as well, so you can create records around that. And if you're ever questioned, if someone's grapes on the other side of the hill perish, you can say, well, it didn't come from here because here's our data. So all that's good to have up your sleeve. Yeah, I have recently been overseas, and I went to the Rugby World Cup, and all this stuff was a bit new. So I'm looking at my phone a bit, and I could see, this is late October, that there was potential for a frost, it said on the forecast. So of course we're obviously at the time of the day over there. So I'm sitting there at lunchtime looking at my phone saying, we've got a significant frost happening here, because I'm getting a live weather update from my weather station. I had a few other Australian farmers with me saying, I don't think there'll be a frost. I said, mate, it's minus 1.5 and it's only midnight. We're going to get a pretty good frost. And of course, some people say, well, you never get away, but I kind of like to be connected. That meant the next day I could ring my really trusted agronomist and say, can you go and have a look, mate, and see if we got some damage? Because if we had damage, that would have driven a decision to probably cut those crops for hay. And I was over in France for another 2 weeks, And I thought, I don't want to come home and find it's all too late and the window for cutting hay is gone. So it's just a good way to be connected. And I personally like to be, wake up in the morning and check everything on my phone. And now I've got all these apps and just have a look what's going on. You don't have to get into all the detail, and you've got to let people here have some autonomy, but it's still good to know what's happening. And I think you can't come back after a month and start screaming at people because, things didn't go how you wanted them. So you can have a look now and just see where you're up to.